Hello everybody, Samantha White here, and today I wanted to talk all about moving. I've been moving around quite a bit lately. I went from a 6-week trip in Australia back to where I had been living in New Hampshire for 4 weeks, and then packed all of my stuff up and drove across the country to Nebraska and South Dakota, where I visited family for another 5 weeks. And now I have traveled back to Australia, where I'm going to be living for the next year or two. So that's very exciting, but also it's been a lot. Now at some point I want to do a video where I put a whole bunch of tips that I've learned. I don't know what I'm doing actually, so there might be some tips, but just things that I've learned all about zero waste packing, and just put together a little list of some easy ways to pack zero waste. But that's not happening today, because that seems like it's gonna be work. And even though I've had the last 9 weeks off of work, I don't want to put more in apparently. What am I doing with my life? Great question, I don't know. Let's just take an existential crisis moment here. Today I just wanted to talk to you guys about how this experience of moving multiple times and really being forced out of my comfort zone of the stores that I knew and the way I knew how to shop and the just ease of living in a place where I knew how to be zero waste, how getting out of that and being forced into a whole bunch of new experiences and a whole bunch of new places has reshaped the way I look at zero waste. So let's jump right in, and I think I have 5 or 6 things, so this will sort of be a list, but not really because I don't know. So number 1 is that I'm not as perfection orientated. Oriented? Let's just change it. Let's just get rid of that word altogether. I don't like it. I'm not as focused on perfection. Now this has been a change that has been coming for a while. I've been talking about it for a long time, that this is a journey. It's not about perfection. There is no one right way to live a zero waste or a low waste lifestyle. But no matter how many times you say it, even if you truly, fully believe what you're saying and you know that it is logically true, it can be so easy to get caught in those traps of, but I should be a little better, or I could do a little better, or I created trash today, which means I'm a failure. Those are not healthy mindsets, because then you start getting down on yourself and then you'll just quit doing it, because no one can be perfect. So even though I've been looking at zero waste as a progress and not perfection sort of lifestyle for a long time, this move has really solidified that it is progress, not perfection, and progress does not always go in a straight line. I'm much less focused on the trash that I'm creating, and I'm much more focused on individual actions that I can do every day that reduce the amount of waste, but also reduce the amount of pollution. So like walking places instead of driving, taking public transport when I can, says the person who just had a huge international flight, which is like awful for the environment. So that was number 1. I'm not as focused on perfection, and that sort of leads into number 2, which is I'm just more relaxed in this lifestyle. Like in general, I'm more relaxed. I think 12 weeks ago, before this huge move, before I went to Australia for the first time, was that 12 weeks ago? Maybe 16. Before I took this trip, I was a little high-strung. I'm still a little high-strung, let's not kid ourselves. I'll do what I can, and if I can get a drink with no straw, or I can, you know, say I don't need a napkin, or avoid plastic cutlery, that's awesome, and I look at those all as wins instead of the other way around, where I used to look at getting a straw or getting plastic cutlery as a loss, if that makes sense. I'm more chill about it. I'm like, if I can avoid something, I'm winning, instead of, oh, I didn't avoid that, well then I'm losing. Number 3 is that this lifestyle is doable, and reducing your waste is doable, but it does get a lot harder when you don't have a home base. Or at least for me, it got a lot harder as soon as I moved out of my apartment and I didn't have one place where I could just make products or cook all my meals, and I didn't have a routine every day. I really leaned on that routine and that comfort of my apartment, and it made zero waste a lot easier. And now that I'm not in that routine and I'm in a new place, living a low waste lifestyle is still doable, but it's harder. It's harder for me. It's more, I just said I was more relaxed and then I was gonna say it's more stressful, but it's true, because while I'm more relaxed in this lifestyle and I'm kind of just like, if I do what I can, then that's awesome and that's a win, it also has been slightly more stressful to every new place I go have to find stores that have bulk bins, or find like shampoo bars, which you'd think you could find everywhere, but that is inaccurate. So number 4 is, this lifestyle is doable, you can reduce your waste anywhere, but oh my goodness, is it smaller? Is it smaller? Harder in a small town. I grew up in a very, 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 very small town. The sign outside the town says 100 people, but me and my friend counted once and I'm pretty sure there's only about 53. Not only is the town I grew up in small, but the area in general is very rural, and there just aren't a lot of options for unpackaged anything. So that means that your choice then becomes to either shop local and packaged, or go somewhere else, like a couple hours away, drive to a Walmart where you can potentially find unpackaged things for cheaper, but you're not supporting your local community. This goes back to number 1, where I'm not as focused on perfection, because there is no right answer to these situations, in my opinion. The last thing, so I think number 5, is that while zero waste can be really difficult in small areas, it can be really difficult without having a home base, it can be pretty difficult while traveling in general, even with all of these things where I'm like, oh god, it was hard, and it was hard. It was also so worth it. That's the point here. Still so worth it. I still feel really, 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 really good that I am being conscious of the trash I am creating. I don't know if this video had a point, but I don't know if a lot of videos have a point. I'm gonna blame jet lag. I hope that this was entertaining. Thank you guys so much for watching. I hope you're all having a great day. Bye. What is up with me finger guns today? I don't, I'm also not finishing sentences. This is gonna be weird to edit.